Hello, all, and welcome to a very special edition of DK Media Music over here. Today, I am not only talking about someone who isn't associated with guitars, but I'm also joined by my co-host today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name's Vince. I have known this man over here since freshman year of high school, and our music tastes haven't really always mixed, but all of a sudden I got a random text last year saying, hey, I'm listening to a new artist, and sure enough it was The Weeknd, one of my favorite musical artists. So when he decided that he wanted to do an album ranking of his of his albums, I was like, well, you better have me come on, so I want to be part of the video, so here I am.
Yes, because he is the expert. Do not listen to me. My opinions are wrong. Because I am very new to this kind of music, so much so that I hate most of his features. But this is the man who got me into this guy. So I was like, all right, well let's do this together, right? And this is actually the third time we're shooting this, because we actually shot the last half of this video like half a year ago. So when you notice, you'll notice right away that we have used a different camera and microphones, and my hair was shorter.
My hair was longer.
So don't be alarmed. This is just because it looked like this originally, and it looks like shit. So I was like, well, we just got to redo it, and it took us a couple months. So here we are. So let's get right into it.
I just really rank these in terms of like personal preference and like what I go back to like more often as opposed to other albums. So that's really where all these rankings come in. So at number 8 I have one of his mixtapes, Echoes of Silence, which is actually the third mixtape that he dropped. And my favorite tracks on there were, right off the bat, his Dirty Diana cover for Michael Jackson was just on point. He can hit every single note that Michael can, just bar for bar. And it's funny, I've played this song for other people and not told them that this was like a cover, and they've been like, oh, I've never heard Michael sing this version. I'm like, well, because it's not Michael. And they've been like, what? And so I've always compared him to Mike in terms of like vocal abilities, so it just further proves my point. But outside of other favorite tracks would probably be Outside, and then Next is just a phenomenal song, and that's really about it. And the only reason I really have this at 8 is because those are the only tracks I really go back to, and I don't even go back to them as often as I do other tracks, so I just really have this album at 8 just because it's the album I go back to the least.
Very surprisingly to you, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically, the first song, Lonely Star, I liked how chill it starts. And then towards the end of the track, it gets to like this spoken word part. And then from there on out, the entire mixtape I don't like. Like, especially the next track, Life of the Party, which is bar none my least favorite Weeknd song. I know you.
It is what it
We're on
is.
very different pages with that one.
It is.
But still, though, like, I obviously listen to a very different type of Weeknd, and going back to this type of Weeknd, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a good thing I started with the new stuff, because if I would have heard this first,
Was gonna
this
take a
video
lot
would
of
have
convincing.
never happened.
I would have just had to have randomly played new stuff in the car, and would have been like, who's this? And I would have said The Weeknd. You would have said you're lying. I would have been like, no.
Yeah, basically. And like I mentioned earlier, the features are very, either they make the song fine or they totally ruin it and I have to skip it. Anything with Drake on it is a skip. Fuck Drake. But yeah, this is the only one I'd give like a negative score to, because everything on here is like either forgettable or I do not like whatsoever.
Which was his first studio album he released. So after he got signed to Republic Records and then got all his mixtapes mastered and then were made available, this was his next follow-up project after that, and I have it at 7 with my favorite tracks off that being definitely number one being Wanderlust, then Belong to the Worlds, then the title track Kissland, followed by Tears in the Rain, and I think this is a nice departure from his mixtape style, especially lyrically. There's obviously some similarities in like lyrical content, but you're starting to hear him experiment with some more sounds, and he's really starting to discover a different part of himself lyrically, because a lot of his mixtapes, a lot of the songs, they get kind of repetitive. He's kind of singing about the same kind of stuff. It's just how is he presenting it in a different way, and this is, it's a little bit like that, but he's starting to depart from it, and it's obviously different production, better production. He's got, he's with a major label now with this album, so now production value is going to get a lot better, and everything's going to be mixed and mastered right away instead of when he was doing everything independently with the mixtapes. So it's a fair album. It's really not all that popular in his fan base, and he doesn't really perform these songs anymore, which is unfortunate because I'm actually going to see him in Chicago on July 24th, so I'm hoping he breaks out maybe Wanderlust or Belong to the World. That'd be a nice throwback for the fans to play something off this record.
And well, this one has Wicked Games and Knowing, which I think are pretty cool. Those are pretty decent songs. High on This is kind of okay, but yeah, past that, pretty much nothing else. Like What You Need in the title track, specifically the last half of the title track, I don't really like. But yeah, I mean, it's listenable, unlike most of Thursday, TBH. So it inches just a little bit above that one, or maybe a lot of it, because Thursday is like way down here, and maybe House of Balloons is like here. So.
I really like the front half of the album and how it starts, and then after like track 5, it kind of really starts to dissipate for me. But like the first 5 tracks, I can really get into, starting with Lonely Star, then Life of the Party. I don't know, I just like it. I don't really know why. It grew after me after a couple listens, and I'm just like, fuck it. It just sounds like something you'd hear at like a Demented Carnival. I don't know, it's got that weird vibe to it. And then going into the title track, Thursday's pretty good. I like The Zone. I could do with or without Drake's verse. And then Birds Part 1 I liked, but then after that with Birds Part 2, going through the rest of the album, I'm kind of like, eh. I think Heaven or Las Vegas is pretty chill, but I don't know. It's like the first 5 songs I think are probably the best for me, and which is why I rank it higher than Kissland or the other one I just said, Echoes of Silence, because the sequencing of those first 5, like I will go through all 5 of those tracks and not actually skip them. So that's really important for me with rankings, is can I actually go through and not skip those songs. So
yeah. We have a lot of similar albums like on the bottom, which I think is...
That's fair.
I think goes to show like how much better he got.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, Love in the Sky I like because it has a really cool drum pattern. And like the main hook or riff, whatever you want to call it, I think is pretty cool. Live For, hell no. Didn't even like it before Drake came on, and then he does, and I'm like, oh, goodbye. Wanderlust is the saving grace on this one, I think. Yeah, it at least has one song that I kind of really like with Wanderlust, which easily puts it above the other 2 mixtapes.
I was really tempted by nostalgia to bump this up higher.
It was at number 2.
It was
originally.
It was, and I through the amount of time it took in between to finish this video, and took re-ranking and just listening to all the other different albums, and this mixtape still does hold a special place for me because I really do remember downloading this off of SoundCloud when we were freshmen in high school, because people were talking about this guy out of Canada, and especially the way he was really marketing this mixtape. Like, he wasn't putting pictures of himself out, so no one knew what this guy even looked like. Was he a solo artist? Is it a band? And I think this sets the mood, and for really sorry, I lost my train of thought, but I'll go off. It starts off with High for This. I think it sets a good vibe. It's very spacey instrumental that I like. What You Need, I think, is pretty good. Then, yeah, House of Balloons / Glass Table Girls. Love House of Balloons. I could do without Glass Table Girls. It's the second half song. And I thought it was really cool and really nice for Day One fans when he did the Super Bowl show, how he performed, the chorus for House of Balloons and was able to transition that into Blinding Lights at the Super Bowl. Like, this is where I started, and now, like, look where I'm at. And only in a 10-year span, so, like, what a come up. And then...
Yeah, what is this, the Beatles?
And then you got The Morning, which is great. Wicked Games, love it. And, man, if you watch that music video, that was also, like, peak days of heavy drug use, and he looks high as hell in that video. You just take one look at him, he's gone. And then The Party and the After Party, another great one. Coming Down. Also, I just love how almost like sinister Coming Down is, like, the sound of it. And then Loft Music would probably be my least favorite on House of Balloons, just because I feel like he rambles a lot. It's a 6-minute song, and it just kind of, he's just singing and singing. There's no real, like, chorus. There's no real bridge. He's just kind of keeps going on and on. And then there was actually a 10th track that was released when it got all mixed together. It was released as part of the trilogy set, 28. That's just really good. And so, I mean, I wanted to put it higher, but I put it as high as it is because to me, it's the best out of all his mixtape music, and it really set the foundation because he still makes very similar music. All the stuff he sings about on House of Balloons, he's still singing about now. It's just that he's gotten a lot better and more creative, and his production has evolved.
And for one simple reason is Next. Like, that song is, like, really damn good. Mm-hmm. Followed up by the title track, which closes out the album. It's a nice continuation. It just ends really, really good. But other than that, we have Montreal and Outside. I think he just kills it vocally on those. The Juicy feature was trash, like really goddamn bad. That's pretty much it. That's the only reason. It's Next. Next, put this one at number 5. Now we get to the good ones.
Yeah. So now we are on number 4. So my top 5 has changed quite a bit. So then for me at number 4 is Beauty Behind the Madness, the studio album that really blew up and I think really made him like a superstar. Cause for 2 specific tracks, for I Can't Feel My Face and then Earned It, because Earned It was, of course...
Yeah, this is where he started working with Max Martin.
Yeah, the master songwriter himself.
That son of a bitch.
Who, I forgot, who's he behind in terms of number 1 radio hits?
McCartney and Lennon.
So, yeah, clearly he's worked with a lot of major artists. If you look him up, you'll see his track record. He's no joke.
Look up Max Martin. The guy wrote all your favorite songs.
But, yeah, no, even from a production standpoint on Beauty Behind the Madness, it just sounds so cinematic. You hear strings on his music for the first time, and it complements all the tracks that have strings on it really well, like starting off with Real Life. Just, it comes in and it just hits you immediately. And I remember hearing it for the first time, like, okay, this is going to be a different type of Weeknd. Like, his production has been elevated, and it's just a great intro track. Losers is another solid one. Then Tell Your Friends, which is my favorite track on the album, just because those piano keys come in so smooth. Then there's that nice guitar solo towards the final verse, and you've just got him, and he always makes songs about bragging about, okay, I got all these girls, I got all this money, I do all these drugs, but there's just certain songs, the way he comes off just sounds better than others, and this is one of those tracks where it's like, yeah, that's my guy. Often another solid one, The Hills, which, I don't know, it was weird, I was listening to that on the way here, and that one, I feel like The Hills was mixed at a higher, like, volume, or, like, a higher decibel. Because I swear to God, it is louder than any other song on this album. I don't know, if next time you listen to it, like, listen to Often or something else on the album, then put on The Hills, you'll notice it's significantly louder than anything else on the album.
Maybe that was their recommendation.
Probably. But, like, it's also this high up because there's basically, like, no song on this album I would skip. It is just that level of good. I mean, also... Can't Feel My Face blew up, was everywhere, was on the radio for forever, won a damn Kids' Choice Award talking about cocaine, so, that's when you're doing something right. And just even, I don't know, this whole album just had a really strong cinematic vibe and really, I think, solidified that he's not going anywhere and that he's gonna be a star, and his star only got bigger. And just also really wanted to note the good features on this album. He had Dark Times with Ed Sheeran. They complemented each other really well. And even Prisoner with Lana Del Rey, those two go together really well. And then the way that the final song on the album, Angel, it had really beautiful strings. He had a choir behind him, just really front to back, a solid album that you can't find many weaknesses in.
I would agree. More on that later. But anyway. There is a monumental gap between Echoes of Silence and Dawn FM. Like, whereas the bottom four only had one track that I really liked. The top four, every album has several songs that I really like. So, beginning with Dawn FM, the newest one currently. We got Gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? I still find it really weird. It's just one of the strangest sounding verses I have ever heard in my life. Just with that damn vocal effect. But it's kind of cool at the same time. You know, don't get me wrong, I don't hate it, but it's a strange specimen. Mm-hmm. But then we get Take My Breath, which, son of a bitch, man, the first time I heard it,
you were so just like mid.
I was like, yeah, all right, cool, man, you got a new album coming out, can't wait to hear it. And then I went back to it and I was like, take my breath away. Dun, dun, dun. Like the strings in the chorus, super cool. And just like the main riff, it's like a cool strumming pattern along with Sacrifice. Both these songs have a really interesting like pattern. But yeah, Sacrifice fucking kicks ass too. Out of Time I really like. But as I just learned,
we literally just
like
learned
20 minutes ago, that the whole intro is actually taken straight from a city pop Japanese song.
So the art of sampling, kids.
I was like, ooh, I still really like it, but that makes a dent. It went from like a 5-star to a 4-star, but it's still really good. I'll still jam it. But honestly, after Out of Time, there's not much on here for me.
Okay.
Until like Less Than Zero, I thought was pretty good too. Jim Carrey makes the album really cool too.
Who would have thought you'd ever hear Jim Carrey on an R&B album?
It's like, what a collab.
Dude, and the fact that they were neighbors at one point, like, bro, sign me up. Like, I wanna.
Yo, what street was it? What street is that?
Please send me a postcard.
And speaking of interesting collaborations, you want to tell me who the fuck thought it was a good idea to put Lil Wayne on a song?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like the shittiest fucking guy ever. Yeah, let's take this really sweet, nice song, I Heard You're Married, which I was really digging. Digging it. And that piece of crap comes on and just dookied all over this song.
Yeah, no, there's a handful of other artists I think could have made that work better, but hey, what's done is done now. So
it's like fucking like you like a Beethoven song, and then just some caveman just starts all over it. It's like, yeah, way to ruin that, son of a bitch. But yeah, it's a really good album. Very, very easily like the best one, like front to back at least experience wise, because it is kind of like a loose like concept. It's like, you know, you listen to this radio station on your way to the light with Jim Carrey soothing you and The Weeknd soothing you on the way, and then Lil Wayne just fucking sends you straight to hell. But whatever, it's really good. We now have the same number 3 when you redid it, which is Starboy.
Yep, so may as well. I'll just read off the track list, and I guess we'll just riff on it. So, yeah. I mean, it opens up with the title track, Starboy.
Yeah,
great intro.
Really goddamn good. That chorus is so, just the way he goes down, and with the piano, it almost it's like kind of like a sad vibe.
Yeah.
But it's a very triumphant song.
And I know you don't really like Daft Punk, but they did a good job with the song.
Yeah,
they
fuck
did
Daft
on this
Punk, but yeah, no, I mean the shit they did on this song is good. I guess I don't think they even open their mouths, do they?
I think maybe some sounds, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
very minimal. I don't notice it at least, which is good.
You know, then after that, Party Monster, the reason I like Party Monster because I think it's like a more like ramped up version of like songs you would have heard on House of Balloons or Thursday. It's that same kind of like drug fueled records, but just with a higher production value. And then False Alarm,
Kicks
dude.
ass.
Oh my
That goddamn chorus is so goddamn good.
Dude, we don't talk about a drum pattern, like holy hell.
False alarm, like the bass, yeah, it's really good.
It's a great one. And then Reminder is another one of those, like I say, those songs where he brags about like I'm at the top of the game, no one can touch me.
Reminder is actually the first my first like run through of it. I had it at a 1 star because I hated it, and then my second time through it, I was like, I don't know what I hated about it. It's fine. Whatever.
Well, that's why you need multiple listens and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Especially because, you know, he goes,
Like,
I just won a new award for a kid's show. Talk about a face humming off a bag of blow. Talking about Can't Feel My Face. Won the Kids' Choice Award. And he's like, all right, you know, I'll take it. Like, hey, why not? And then you go from that to songs like Rockin' and Secrets, which I call his family-friendly songs-ish.
Yeah.
That you could play around a younger audience and you could probably get away with it.
Yeah, Rockin' is pretty rockin'. I thought Secrets was pretty cool too.
Yeah, and then True Colors, another sweeter song, and then Stargirl Interlude is, I mean, it's an interlude, it's fine.
Yeah, it's like, what is it, like a minute and a half or something?
It's not very long, yeah. You go from that
It's like
to...
the Tale by Quincy, it's like...
Yeah,
it's just
quick.
whatever.
You go from that to, I know you don't like Sidewalks, but I do. I think the guitar riff is great. I know you could do without the auto-tune. It's just there for the sake of the effect or whatever. We know damn well he doesn't need it. 6 Feet Under, like I said, I like the vibe. I don't personally like Future either, but it works for the themes of the song. And then I got my 2 favorite songs off the album, Love to Lay and A Lonely Night. Like, they give me straight up, like, early Michael Jackson vibes. Like, he's got a handful of songs that just always reinforce me, like, yeah, he is on par with Mike for our generation. He's got that kind of skill. And then I would say after that, my next best favorites would be probably Die For You and I Feel It Coming. Those are some really...
yeah, I Feel It Coming is pretty good too. I Feel It Coming. That's the other Daft Punk one, isn't it?
Yeah. They do vocals on that for a little bit.
Whatever. I don't like them by themselves, but with a good singer...
There you go.
not bad. But yeah, dude, I actually fought a lot between 2 and 3. But Starboy, because it's the longest album, it definitely has the most songs I do not like. Which now we transition into what we shot like 5 months ago, and notice how much better it looks and sounds. So, cue the clip. Starting with Sidewalks, which is because it's auto-tuned, and I was just like why?
Not a necessary effect for him. He can actually sing, so
like
not
really
not
good.
necessary.
So it's like, so I was already like kind of done with this track, and then who was it again?
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he comes on and just ruins it even harder.
God.
So I'm just like, yeah, skip. I'm sorry, but I can't stand that dude. 6 Feet Under, the lyrics. Didn't like.
Yeah, it's very not for sensitive ears. I know you don't have sensitive ears, but I know it's not up your alley either. So.
Yeah. But there's other songs like Love to Lay, I think is pretty catchy. Lonely Night, I Feel It Coming. All these songs are pretty good. All I Know is another one I don't like because of the feature.
Yeah, I know. Future's not one of my favorites either.
Yet again, feature ruining a song. So basically with Starboy, it's just there's a lot of highs, but there's the most lows. This has the most songs I do not like.
Really, because I didn't like. He set his expectations so high after he released After Hours, and then he did not disappoint. Just you've got tracks like Gasoline, Take My Breath, How Do I Make You Love Me. Just the whole first 7 songs are just phenomenal. Especially Sacrifice has got to be in my top 5 to 3 favorite Weeknd songs. I didn't see that coming at all from this album.
Just the Starboy predicted it. You didn't see it coming.
Yeah. And I just love every second of it. And then even after that, I know it slows down for you, but I still love Is There Someone Else? I Heard You're Married, and then Here We Go Again. It's another solid one. Then the way the album ends, man, with Less Than Zero, then that Phantom Regret where Jim Carrey's going on that long poem, like some deep shit, man.
Yeah.
So it's what a way to end that album. And it was just talk about setting the bar so high and just really nailing it again. Like, just really solid stuff. Like I said, didn't expect to get like a new, like, legit top 5 favorite Weeknd song, and he delivered. Like,
because your ass was what, like sitting there waiting for that album to drop?
Oh, I was ready when it was it was like, because they drop at midnight Eastern time, so 11 for us. I was loaded up Spotify, bam, I was playing it. I was hitting him up like, oh my god, the transition, this. He goes, yeah, I gotta work at 7 in the morning. I'll listen to it later.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I was ready, man. It was, because you only get that first listening once, so,
True. All right, well, the rest of the video is from the past, so goodbye from the future, I guess. Here's my thing, right? I fought a lot between this one and Starboy, but as much as Starboy has a lot of highs, Beauty Behind the Madness is actually the only release where I don't dislike any song.
Not as really okay.
I like all of them.
Every single track on the record. Okay.
At least, none of them like. I don't need to skip any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, because we have songs like "Losers."
Mm-hmm.
I like "Losers." It's pretty good. It has a pretty cool shuffle going on, and it's an example of a feature that I don't hate.
Yeah, I know, because I've never even heard. I think the feature is credited as Labyrinth. I don't know if that's a band or just the guy that sings, but yeah, I've never heard that guy, and I was like, oh, wow, this guy's pretty cool.
Yeah, then you have Tell Your Friends.
Oh, God.
Which is chill as hell.
Dude, those keys when they come in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a solo in it. Like, hell yeah, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Hills, I like mainly for the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just kind of whatever. And then, Can't Feel My Face.
Yeah, man.
Like, that kind of flew over my head the first time I listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
But since listening to it again, I put that shit on my playlist at work.
Uh-huh.
So I blast that at work sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah,
man, that was... I think that might have... don't quote me on it, but I think that was his first number one on the Billboard Hot 100. It was either that one or Earned It. But it probably was I Can't Feel My Face. Like, that's the record that was like, okay, he has arrived as a superstar in music.
Yeah, and yeah, it definitely shows, man. It's fire. Straight fire.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like the way it has like a slow intro.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just grooves so hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
It grooves so hard. In the Night.
Oh, God.
I also liked.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just because of the chorus. It actually kind of reminds me of Bruno Mars.
Really?
If he wasn't totally annoying.
Damn. All right.
Like, oh, man. Just that vocal performance,
Mm-hmm.
Really, really damn good. Dark Times. More good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the Ed Sheeran one, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another feature that doesn't sound totally terrible.
Yeah, no,
which I really appreciated. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just a really solid album.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it doesn't have like I said, it doesn't have those insane heights that Starboy does, but it's consistently way better, I think.
Okay.
Just because I'm not I can't deal with this song right now. Just pretty solid.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that pushed it over Starboy is just the consistency.
All right, yeah.
Being good.
No, I mean, there's something to say when you have an entire record that you can just put on and you're not going to skip it and it's going to play. You might not love every song, but you're going to listen to the whole thing from start to finish.
And it's the only album like that.
Okay.
But despite that, actually kind of surprising that we only have one
Yeah.
one album in common.
Yeah.
And it's our number one.
Yeah.
And it's been here the entire time.
Yep. After Hours.
Of course, we're talking After Hours.
The 2020 release that made 2020 much more bearable. It is, I guess I'm rambling, so I'll go first. It is just, can we say, I know there's such a thing as a cinematic masterpiece. Can we say it's a musical masterpiece for the most part?
For the most part.
I mean, I might say that more just because I'm a more diehard fan. But man, in terms of like really painting like visuals with words, it does a really solid job. And just going through the track list, from start to finish, Alone Again puts you in a pretty solid vibe of where like this version of Abel is on this journey, and then you go into Too Late, just really solid fun track, even though it's kind of dealing with some, you can interpret the lyrics different ways, but also an absolutely ridiculous music video that I have tortured you with and Nick with and other people with. It's just it's if you watch the music video, just be warned, it's not safe for work, but it's just like if you're a fan of horror, you'll love it. But it's a fun record. And then it gets into songs that have definitely like borderline like depressed me if you're in that type of mood, and it will get to you. Like Hard Is to Love was definitely, it also kind of has almost like an anime intro or ending kind of vibe at times, but great vocals. And then Scared to Live, phenomenal vocals on that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the instrumental overpowers the vocals, which is what I like. I think they let his vocals breathe on that one a lot. And then it goes into Snow Child. Oh, the drum pattern, I think, on that. I'm sorry, I'm not so super technical with music, so if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. But just, and even that, I think there sounds like there's a little bit of auto-tune on his vocals. Like I said, it's never necessary with him. I know he probably just does it for an effect, just for the sake of it. But Snow Child is great. And then, oh God, Escape to LA, like the first 11, or Escape from LA, those first 11 or 12 seconds to me are just musical bliss. Just immediately before the beat drops, and then once it drops, it's absolutely incredible. And it continues to take you on like this journey of where he's going in life, and how he just keeps, I think, spiraling out of control throughout the record. Then it takes you into Heartless, which, man, I'll tell you, when I first heard Heartless, I didn't like it at all. I thought this is kind of like basic. And then then I saw the music video, which is the only thing that's ever made Las Vegas remotely interesting to me at all. But like, man, this shit slaps. Yeah. And it's back to that like classic braggadocio, never need a bitch, I'm what a bitch need kind of, and other basically very much, if ladies, you don't want to hear stuff like that, don't listen to the song, 'cause it's not very flattering at times, but man, does it go hard. And then it go for, just the sequencing from that then into Faith, just, oh my God, just the production on that record alone is something that would be in like a major like studio film. Like, it's just incredible. And then that great transition with like his distorted vocals, and you can hear like a cop car siren in the back that then bleeds into the number one charting song in the history of American radio, probably radio all over the world, in Blinding Lights, which I don't think there's many people in the world who haven't even heard that song like at all, even a snippet. Like, if you've never heard The Weeknd, you at least know Blinding Lights now, which is crazy to think, because then when going back to something like A House of Balloons or Thursday, and hearing those super explicit like songs filled with drugs and women, to then go for a song like Blinding Lights that is not so latent with all that content, but is just, this thing is going to get you on your feet. I'm sure this thing will be played at I don't know how many clubs and homecomings and weddings and all that stuff. Just, it's a song that you can also probably never get tired of. I know I don't.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then In Your Eyes, man, I just feel like is criminally underrated. Like, I know it charted on the radio, but not enough. Like, that saxophone solo, my lord.
Yeah. And that shit popped up in Cobra Kai. I was like, oh, hell yeah. Hell yes.
Like, just his vocals, and just, the 80s inspired sounds are just absolutely phenomenal. And once again, it doesn't feel like too overused, and it just is great. And then once again, sequencing from In Your Eyes to then Save Your Tears, which I'm not like a diehard fan, because I think that definitely blew up more than In Your Eyes, and I wish it would have been vice versa, but I do still like Save Your Tears. It's just that when it first like became like a lead single and was getting its radio play, it was getting radio play hard. Like it was like every hour, like boom, boom, boom. Here's Save Your Tears, and I was like, okay, like calm down. But I mean, I still love it. Just that bass line when it comes in, like you know damn well. Also, another crazy ass music video when he had that crazy like mask on with like the super like chiseled chin, and people were freaked out because they did it, and he was making some like posts on like Twitter and like Instagram, and people like for like a good day thought like he legitimately had that work done on his face. So like, you know, don't scare people like that. And then, you know, the Repeat After Me interlude, I actually like really like it. I don't know, it puts you in like a different kind of trance. I don't know, I really like it. Then you have the title track, After Hours. It's a little long for me. It doesn't need. I don't think it needed to be 6 minutes, but it continues with I think a lot of themes on the record of love and loss, which he's always talked about. But here, I don't think it's ever felt as dark as it has on this record. That he's really talking about really losing people that he cared about, probably different women or whatnot that he's drawn from his real life. Relationships and things that he's really reflecting on that are probably really hurting him or whatnot. So that's probably where a lot of that came from. And then that Until I Bleed Out outro, I think, is also absolutely great, especially the vocals that lead up to it. You know, when he's like, I'm just, you know, I'm trying to think of how the verse goes, you know, I'm just trying to feel the ground when I'm coming down. I don't even want to get high no more. Just the way he sounds like that. And he's just really almost like belting out. Like, he's really trying to, like, I almost feel like in the record he's really trying to, like, sober up and trying to get off this, like, crazy trip. And the way the instrumental just, it almost sounds very, like, staticky at the end. Or you know how the instrumental kind of goes at the end of the song. And it sounds like it is, like, the end of a trip. And he's finally, like, coming down because we've been on this entire trip within the entire album. And it's a very interesting way it just kind of ends. I don't know, just from beginning to end, it is a classic album that I think has got basically no skippable songs for me for the most part. I mean, songs I definitely don't prefer, so obviously my favorites would go Blinding Lights, In Your Eyes, Save Your Tears, probably Faith, Heartless, Escape from LA, and like Snow Child, and then you can probably just categorize the rest wherever you'd want. But I mean, I don't know. It's definitely going to be hard to top this album for me. But, man, did he do a pretty damn good job with Dawn FM and almost topping it. Like, he definitely said, all right, I'm going to try again. And he did something pretty damn good. But, I don't know, After Hours is always going to be that definitive work for him. And it shows.
Oh, yeah. Because, yeah, this was the first one I heard.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you started off at the top.
And I remember, yeah, just randomly, because I knew you were huge on Weeknd. And I remember Anthony saying he liked them too.
Didn't Nick say something too?
Yeah. So I looked him up on Google, and the first thing I watched was, I think it was Save Your Tears, but it was live, like he was in a car and it was driving. Mm-hmm. Is that Save Your Tears?
Yeah. I forgot what music award show they had him do that for.
Yeah, so that was the first thing I watched, and immediately it was the synth that drew me in. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I heard Blinding Lights after that. And I was like, all right, let me listen to the album. And besides those two, Hardest to Love was my other favorite. Those were like the main three. And then later on, I would come to love Scared to Live also. And then In Your Eyes, because, oh man, it's just such a good song. And then, yeah, it hits you with that sax solo.
And it goes on for like, what, a minute and a half, I think, at least. It might be longer, but it goes on. It's a perfect way to just close out that track.
Yeah, man. Like, but sorry to say, man, there are a couple of songs I do not like on it.
Hey, it's fair.
Snow Child is one of them.
All right, fair enough. Is it the auto-tune?
It might be.
It's fair. Like I said, I think I don't know, he probably just does it because he thinks it just sounds cool. He might think it adds something, but he just obviously doesn't need to do it for the vocals. Doesn't need it, so
yeah. And then the other one is Escape from LA.
Okay.
Because at some point he starts singing about having sex in the studio.
Yeah, that part. Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm out. And for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, some good memes were made from that though. That was pretty good.
But those are the only two. Everything else is just kind of decent. Like Heartless. I like that one. Also grew on me quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And a while ago I did a series where I was doing 10 albums that like impacted me.
Mm-hmm.
And had I done that like today, After Hours would be in there.
Okay.
Because this is the album that opened my eyes, I guess, to like a different world of music and just a different side of it.
Yeah.
And it just made me more open to trying to find some, because you all know I'm very much into like metal and stuff. And After Hours is the reason that I'm branching out of it. So that does it for our rankings of the weekend. Let us know what you guys think in the comments, because I'm very new to this. So whatever your list is, it's probably not gonna impact me too much, just because I'm just like, man, I listed half these songs and I can't actually like remember them off the top of my head. It might be because it's super late, but I'm very new, is what I'm trying to say. Like Dawn FM is the first new album I heard, so.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely going in reverse, but that's kind of interesting to go like backwards. I've been able to just between the two of us comparing, I've been able to just, like I said, track his career from like the beginning to what he is now, and you can go back and forth, and which maybe might have helped, because I know just from knowing your taste, if you would have heard it from the beginning, you probably would have been like, just whatever.
Yeah, no.
So
I think if I heard anything else besides After Hours, I would not have cared.
Oh, absolutely. So
it was just that synth and the fact that he can sing really good.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I heard some shit off like, if any of those features, with fucking Drake or something, it would have been a no-go. So good thing you Google recommended me the good shit.
Well, yeah, they're just gonna give you the most popular song. So good job. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I know you had yet to have a guest on the rankings, and I kind of figured, this is your first time, not like you said, not doing a metal band on the rankings, and I was like, well, I know his music pretty well. I'd like to think.
Yeah.
So why not come on, do something different.
Also, if anyone out there has any suggestions, because like I said, I don't know anything about this side of music.
Outside of metal, you need requests.
So if anyone has anything similar in the same vein as After Hours or anything, let me know. Let me know who I should look up next, because I'm a very, very open book now. But yeah, other than that, I will see you in the next one. I don't know who I'm doing next, honestly. So until then,
peace out.
Farewell.